Good afternoon. This is Fight for Flight. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen in on Spotify. You can follow along on your favorite social media platforms. I'm your host, David Hobson, and however you may be listening, I appreciate you making us a part of your day. Welcome back, everybody. It's Monday, and yes, we have a brand new show for you today. We're going to start the show by talking about the predictions that we made last week, see where we went right and where we went wrong, and then we're going to jump right into the highlights from this week's tournament, the Green Mountain Championship at Smuggler's Notch, and we're going to do a tournament breakdown and talk about players that dominated, players that didn't do so well, and some kind of odd things that happened throughout the week that really shaped up this tournament. Also, we're going to be announcing our Fight for Flight giveaway winners. We've been waiting for a month. I know I have been waiting anxiously, and I can't wait to give this stuff away. And we're going to do that, announce the winners here on our show. And then right after that, we're going to jump right into a little segment called Hope for the Future of Disc Golf. I had some thoughts this past week, and I believe that we can really make an impact in the disc golf world. And I'm excited about seeing what that looks like from a business standpoint. And then we're going to jump right into the MVP Open review for 2023. So the MVP Open was a dynamic tournament. It always is every single year at Maple Hill. And it is a really challenging course. It's a course that demands a lot from players. It's a course that demands a certain type of game. We're going to get into that. And then we're going to make predictions for the MVP Open at the end of the show. So let's start by congratulating Gannon Buhr and Kristin Tattar on their wins at the Green Mountain Championship. It was very exciting. It was honestly captivating, but their wins were very different. Gannon was just being Gannon. He was poised. He was confident. He was throwing shots exactly where he wanted to throw them. Everything was going right for Gannon this week. And it just seemed like all of his rounds, there was just this level of consistency that I didn't see from the other players. He is truly having a year. He is the definition of elite in the MPO. And it's just absolutely amazing to watch him play. Ricky Wysocki also played extremely well. And on Sunday, he really gave Gannon a run for his money. And I didn't think that was going to happen because Ricky was so far back going into Sunday. But he just kept making birdies. He kept putting a lot of pressure on Gannon and ultimately just couldn't catch up because Gannon was playing so well. But the fact of the matter is Ricky has nothing to be ashamed of. An awesome tournament by Ricky Wysocki as well. Kristin Tattar, she never really got hot throughout the week. And it was very strange because I'm used to seeing a very confident Kristin Tattar. I'm used to seeing Kristin throw ridiculously good forehands and be forehand dominant on her approaches and really not have to putt a whole lot. And that's not what we saw this week. Kristin really struggled throughout the week. There was never a time where I thought, yeah, Kristin's going to win this tournament until basically hole 18 on Sunday. It was a very up and down week for her, but she handled the pressure really well. That professionalism, that experience came through, and she handled that pressure coming down the stretch on Sunday a lot better than Silva Saarinen, which is the person who, honestly, I thought had this tournament wrapped up, and that told the story for the FPO. So let's jump right into the predictions that I made for this past weekend's tournament, the Green Mountain Championship. Let's start with the women. So I predicted that Holyn Handley would finish in the top 10. This was an absolute bullseye. She finished solo fourth. She honestly overperformed where I thought she might and played stellar disc golf. It was absolutely amazing to watch her just be consistent and make good decisions and throw shots in the fairway. And it was a great tournament for Holyn Handley. I also predicted that Evelina Salonen finished in the top 5. I thought that her finish last year was probably going to be predictive of her performance this year at that course. I think it sets up really well for her. She's got a lot of distance. She's got a good forehand. But ultimately, she finished tied for 9th. So this was a bogey on my part. She did not finish in the top 5. I also predicted that Missy Gannon finished in the top 3. And this was a bogey on my part, but with a caveat. She was playing so well. I thought that this prediction was locked up even on Friday. Played stellar on Saturday, but for some reason, she shot 3 over par on Sunday and fell back to solo fifth. So I thought that it was a good prediction. Obviously, Missy Gannon does not shoot over par on Sunday very often, but it just didn't work out for us this week. So let's talk about the men. I predicted that Isaac Robinson finish in the top 10, and this was an absolute bullseye. He finished literally tied for 10th place. I also predicted that Matt Oram finish in the top 5, and this was the bogey. This is the one that I missed, I think, the worst on. He finished tied for 15th, never really got it going this week. He was playing okay off the tee, didn't really get his putting going the way he did at the 2023 championship, and just kind of struggled, but still managed to scrape out a top 15 finish. And then my final prediction was that Ricky Wysocki finish in the top 3. And this was an absolute bullseye. Rick, again, showed up and played extremely well. He finished solo second place. So just a few shots behind Gannon Burr, and he's being Ricky Wysocki, super entertaining. We're going to talk about a tee shot that he threw on 18 later in the show. He was stellar. He was entertaining, and he is prime disc golf. So let's shift and let's look at the highlights for the tournament, and let's do some analysis. When we're talking about the ladies coming down the stretch on Sunday, their turning point, to me, was hole 15. Silva Saarinen was up 5 strokes at this point going into hole 15 on Kristin Tattar. And the tee shots really set the tone on the hole 15. And that was where Silva started getting in trouble.
So far this year, Kristin charging. This looks like she's laced the fairway again, and she'll have a birdie look on the 15th.
Really like the sidearm flight. Anheuser needs a lot of turn, and Silva hits one of the first available.
To pull within 3 of the lead, Kristin for birdie.
As you saw there, Kristin went on to birdie. Silva takes a bogey on hole 15. Kristin shot 6 under par on the back 9, while Silva shot +1 on the same back 9 on Sunday. That is a 7-stroke swing, and that tells the story for the tournament. Going into the 18th tee, Silva Saarinen has a 2-stroke lead on Kristin Tattar. And this is a really interesting time because I thought Silva has this wrapped up. She plays extremely good disc golf. She throws the disc basically exactly where she wants to throw it, and she has a very elite putting form. If you watch Silva putt, you're going to be jealous of her putting stroke. It's amazing, and it's very, very elite on the FPO side of things. But going into 18, Kristin sets herself up perfectly in the fairway. Silva goes out of bounds left. Kristin goes on to birdie to force a playoff. Now, in the playoff, both players were in the fairway on their tee shots. But let's watch their approach shots and their putts and see how this thing played out.
Bring it out so wide over that OB. Needs to make sure it can get back.
She has the height. Now it's going to swing back. This is a great shot from Kristin. And that'll give her a look for birdie.
That was as good as it gets from that spot.
Does it have the power? It hits the tree and comes up short. This could roll. Out of bounds. Kristin will lay up for the win. Your 2024 Discraft's Green Mountain Championship winner, Kristin Tattar.
Silva was a little pinched off on the right side of the fairway. It ended up bringing that canopy into play. And I thought the course designers did a good job with this pin placement because it's in the perfect spot where if you bring the disc in on any angle that you don't intend, or you bring the disc in with a lot of speed, you're probably going out of bounds. I thought the course designers did a great job of that pin placement. We saw it come into play several times throughout the week. Players really have to decide, hey, am I going to challenge this or am I not? Kudos to the course designers on putting together a very, very good finishing hole. Now let's talk about the MPO. Ricky Wysocki was on an absolute tear on Sunday. He was shooting 8 under through the front 9 to Gannon's 5 under, gaining strokes on Gannon. and then ended up shooting 12 under par on the day and gave away a stroke on 18, trying to do something heroic. They were trading blows until the 15th hole when this happens off the tee.
I think he proved that this weekend. I want to support whatever he's doing, but I'm not going to try and understand it.
Ricky inside. That will almost certainly not birdie.
Rick's got to just sit back and hope now that Gannon has similar struggles. Round one, round two, Gannon threw the perfect tee shot here.
He likes it.
He's done it
Why
again.
wouldn't
Could go
he?
in.
Oh, wow.
Look at the roll, though.
Gannon would go on to make that birdie putt. Rick would take the par, creating more separation than the 3-shot lead that Gannon currently had. And then Gannon would go on to make this 50-foot birdie to ice the tournament on 16. Let's look at this putt.
And there is your dagger.
There's nobody better than Gannon Buhr right now. Gannon is playing so well. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and we were discussing another guy who plays on tour, and when he has a 20-foot putt, we're kind of on the edge of our seats trying to figure out if it's going in. I feel like if it's within 75 feet, Gannon's just going to make it. We see it over and over and over again, and he had a 5-stroke lead going into the tee box of 18. Wysocki understands, hey, the tournament's out of grasp at this point, but he also has some space between him and the third place position. So he decides, in true Wysocki fashion, to have a little fun and throws an absolute bomb off the tee.
That Smith came into this tournament in 32nd because just looking at his game,
This is playing for the green.
good. Yeah, Rick's trying to go huge. Come on! This is fantastic.
What is he
This
doing?
is fantastic.
Wow, long putt.
What a bomb by Wysocki.
This right here, this is why that Ricky Wysocki is so popular with the fans. They come to see something electric, and he puts on a show. Every single week he puts on a show. Gannon, of course, plays safely in the fairway, as he should, and this is how he finished his round.
It'd be easy, right? But now you're throwing a disc you didn't usually want to throw, and who knows what happened there, but thankfully stopped in bounds. And finishing off in style is Gannon Buhr.
That's so fitting.
Gannon Buhr, your Discraft Green Mountain Championship as Smuggler's Notch Resort Champion.
What a great tournament. What a great showing from Gannon Buhr and Kristin Tattar. Congratulations to both of them for taking down the Green Mountain Championship. So I know that you've all been waiting for it. I know it's highly anticipated on my end. I'm about to announce the winners of our Fight for Flight giveaway. You guys have been waiting for a month, some of you, because you signed up right at the beginning. I know I've been waiting for many months to give this stuff away, and so we're really excited about it. And let's jump right into the winners. So winning our Fight for Flight Mini, one just like this, we have 5 winners. And those are Rustin Mahoney, James Rosen, Evan Canaday, Brandon Poth, Daniel Burrows. Congratulations to the 5 of you. You've won a Fight for Flight Mini. Now we're going to talk about the water bottle. So we had 10 winners of our Fight for Flight water bottle, and they are Katie Lynn, Jacob Wright, Jeremy Nash, Brian Norman, Brandon DeGroza, Grayson Love, Hans Wedding, Ronald Harkey, John Dance, and John Hobson. Congratulations to the 10 of you. You've won a Fight for Flight water bottle. We had 2 Disc Golf Network subscription winners, and they are John Burkett and Ari Saavedra. Congratulations to the 2 of you. You've won a Disc Golf Network subscription paid for by Fight for Flight for 1 year. So now let's talk about the discs. Winning our Ezra Aderhold Nuke, Dakota Rice. Winning the Valerie Mondahano Scorch, Jill Safe. Winning the Aaron Gossage Raptor, Colby Curtis. Winning the Holland Hanley Vulture, Martha Smith. Winning the Chris Dickerson Buzz, Trevor Nelson. Winning the Paul Macbeth Kratos, Jason Nemeth. And then we're getting to our grand prizes. We're giving away 2 pound bags. Winning the Link pound bag, Ricardo Martinez. Congratulations, Ricardo. You just won the Link pound bag. And then our second grand prize winner, winning the Squatch pound bag, is Drake Longstaff. Congratulations, Drake and Ricardo. You have yourself a brand new disc golf bag. By the way, we had winners from 11 different states. Illinois, North Carolina, Virginia, Michigan, Nebraska, Nevada, Kansas, South Carolina, Kentucky, Minnesota, Louisiana. I can't believe the turnout. Thank you guys so much for your participation. There's going to be more giveaways in the future. As a matter of fact, I already have the next one lined up. I've already bought the prizes, and I can't wait to launch that giveaway very soon. Congratulations to all of our winners. Our team's going to be contacting you through your emails that you listed in your form to get your shipping info, and we'll be shipping out those prizes this week. Congratulations to all of you. Have you ever experienced a situation where a leader came in and tried to motivate the people that they were leading through fear? I know I have experienced that at work. I've experienced that in sports. I've experienced it in a lot of facets of my life. But I want you to think about this and ask yourself this question. What was the impact on your productivity in that situation and the productivity of others around you? There is a lot of negativity and fear-based sales tactics being used in disc golf in 2024. So here are some things that I hear on a weekly basis. Tournaments aren't filling up anymore. Tickets aren't selling anymore. Retail is hard to dominate now. The COVID bubble has burst. Viewership is down. Nobody shows up for course cleanup. League participation isn't what it used to be. I'm making less money than I was in 2021. As a business person, there is another way of saying all of these things. The way a business consultant would say it is, I'm not as valuable to the market as I was in previous years. That's the way a business person would say it. It comes off a little bit whiny. And I think that we have to get past this. We're in the middle of an economic downturn in the United States. I don't think anybody's really disputing that. People have less disposable income than they've had in previous years. And the inflation that we're experiencing is deprioritizing recreational spending. People are not going to the movies as much. People are not going outdoors to do activities as much. They're going on fewer vacations. It is de-incentivizing and deprioritizing recreational spending. But I want to ask you a question. Since we're trying to be solution driven here and we're trying to improve the disc golf industry and we're trying to go out and make something better than what we've had in the past, I want to ask you a series of questions here. How many companies during an economic downturn have not adjusted their value proposition? How many have not streamlined their operations? How many have not diversified their revenue streams? How many have not adjusted their inventory levels? How many have not focused on empathy in their marketing? If you only thrive when consumers have no other options, you either aren't as valuable as you think you are, or you just haven't communicated your value properly. And this is essentially what's happening in disc golf. Everybody's talking about how it was in 2021. People had very few recreational options in 2021. So it's easy to compete when you're the only game in town. But I think that it's time that disc golf step up and start competing in the real world when we actually have competition to go out and find a way to win. And I think that some disc golf executives are doing that. I think that some companies in the disc golf industry are doing that. But I think a lot of people that are in the industry are simply complaining that it's not as sweet as it used to be. And I think that is a turnoff to people who are participating in your leagues, in tournaments, in your course cleanup, and all of the things that I listed. It's a turnoff to them because you're not selling them the vision. So how do we thrive in a bad economy? So I'm going to give you an easy breakdown of how to do this. Number one, we sell the hope, we sell the vision, and we sell the impact. Those things are really important from a marketing perspective. That's how you get people involved in what you're doing. They're not going to respond to fear. They're not going to respond to, if you don't get out here and clean up this course, it's never going to be clean for the tournaments. They're not going to respond to, if you don't buy discs from this place, they're going to go out of business. People don't care. They genuinely do not care because they have so many challenges in their lives that they're taking care of their children, they're taking care of their spouse, they're paying their mortgage. They don't really care about your problem. And so if you want people to buy into the thing that you're doing, we got to start selling the hope. We got to start selling the vision. We got to start selling the impact. Here are some things that you can sell. And I'm just going to give you a quick list, and you can think about this and think about how you can implement this in your business. Disc golf provides very affordable recreation. Also, it's accessible to all skill levels. There's disability-friendly courses in most states, in most big cities. You can work on your fitness and your wellness. It's an environmentally friendly sport. It's community building. It's a great way to relieve stress. It has a growing competitive scene, and there is a minimal equipment investment. Think about if you're playing a traditional golf round. You're going to pay $50, $75, $95, $150 a round. You're going to buy at least $750 set of clubs, plus bags and shoes and gloves and everything else that you might need. Disc golf is not that way. Disc golf is a very affordable sport to get into. And we need to sell that to people, let them know, hey, this is a very budget-friendly sport. And so if we're in an economic downturn and you want recreation, like we are right now, we have a great opportunity to go out and say, hey, here's a great alternative to the thing that you normally are spending money on, maybe can't afford at the time. We need more vision, we need more hope, we need more impact, and we need more professionalism in the disc golf industry. Disc golf is lacking in professionalism. It's lacking in people that are well-spoken. It's lacking in people that are well-dressed. It's lacking in people that can sell. It's lacking in people with a vision, with a strategy, with the ability to get people to buy into their thing, people that can influence a large number of people. It's filled with people who can just throw plastic. Throwing plastic does not equal success in the disc golf industry. And I think that it's time to really start selling what is truly valuable about our sport, and that's the impact that it can have on other people's lives. All right, it's that time of year again. It's time for Maple Hill. It's time for big shots. It's time for the MVP Open. So let's talk about the winners from last year. Last year, Matt Oram won the 2023 MVP Open by a commanding 4 strokes. If you know what the MPO field looks like currently, you understand that winning by 4 strokes is very, very difficult to do, and Matt Oram absolutely took it down in 2023. Haley King beat out Kristin Tattar by a stroke to take the title in the women's division. So 2 people who don't win all the time took this tournament down, and I think that speaks to the technicality of the course and how if somebody gets hot, they can go and roll and they can win this tournament. So let's look at some amazing highlights throughout the week. Andrew Marweed breaks out his forehand on hole 8, and then a little magic happens.
Here's Marweed going to his big sidearm here on hole number 8. Looks pretty darn good.
Width, needs to swing in before these branches.
Count it.
What a fantastic forehand. It's so great to see an ace. We don't see it every weekend. We don't see it every tournament. But it's so nice when someone dials it up and it goes in. What a great forehand from Andrew Marweed. Now let's talk about Matt Oram. We already know that he won the tournament. He played fabulously throughout the week. But then he found himself in an awkward lie and decided to get creative. And in true Matty O fashion, he got a little weird.
Unorthodox lineup here. Is this going to be a roller?
That would be creative. Oh, certainly. Keep on going, buddy.
Up and over that ridge. We've only seen 2 people do it so far.
Matty O from about 60 feet. Count it.
This is a great example of just how well things were going for Matt Oram in the 2023 MVP Open. No matter what he did, it seemed like he was always on the green, he always had a putt, and he was knocking those putts down. It was just incredible to watch. On the FPO side of things, Haley King was 3 strokes behind Kristin on hole 15 on Sunday. Sound familiar? We just talked about this for the Green Mountain Championship and how Kristin pulled off the win. Haley King is 3 strokes behind Kristin on hole 15. She and Kristin shot the exact same score on Saturday and Sunday. So this means that Haley's hot start on Thursday, shooting a 56, essentially won the tournament for her because Kristin got hot and they were just trading blows throughout the weekend. So let's check out her birdie on hole 15 on Sunday. What a great putt.
A 3-stroke lead with 4 to play. King 3 behind our leader, Kristin.
Haley.
When things are going right for Haley King, she is very dangerous. She's got a big arm. She's got a good forehand. She is fairly consistent as well. And when her putting stroke is on, it seems like that there's no distance that she's not cashing. So what a great showing from Haley King taking down the 2023 MVP Open. So now let's make some predictions and let's talk about some challenges that these players are going to be facing this coming weekend at Maple Hill. First of all, this is a course where a forehand is required. It genuinely is. It's so hard to be truly competitive without being able to throw those mid-range and putter shots with your forehand into a green. If you watched the tournaments at Maple Hill before, we know that the greens are very small and there's out of bounds lurking sometimes 15 to 25 feet behind the basket. And so being able to dial up those forehands is really going to decide whether or not you're out of bounds or you got to tap in birdie. So given that this is a course where a forehand is beneficial, I also want to point out that it's supposed to rain. There's rain in the forecast all 4 days, 91% on Thursday, 60% on Friday, 55% on Saturday, 55% on Sunday. I know that when it rains, it makes it sometimes difficult to keep the disc from slipping on your forehand. And so I think that what we're going to see is people with really good turnover games being able to pick up a few strokes on people that have great forehands. I still think that people with forehands have an advantage, and you will see that reflected in my picks. But the fact of the matter is, I think that if someone has really good angle control and has a great turnover game, that they're going to be able to pick up strokes on people with forehands if they're having a hard time keeping their discs dry. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the predictions for the 2024 MVP Open. Let's start with the men. I am predicting that Calvin Heimberg gets his putting together and finishes top 10. He was tied for 4th in 2023, hasn't been playing super well as of late, but I think this course shapes up really well to Calvin's game. He does have a forehand, although I would make the argument that he's backhand dominant, but his angle control is very, very good. I think that he stands a very great chance, especially in the rain. I'm predicting that Simon Lizotte finishes in the top 5. Simon finished tied for 2nd place in 2023. He has an elite game, both backhand and forehand, but his backhand turnover game, especially with putters, is truly elite. And I believe that his familiarity with the course is really going to give him an edge. I've seen him play this really, really well. Simon Lizotte finishes in the top 5. And then I'm going to stop betting against him. Gannon Buhr is going to finish in the top 3. He finished tied for 11th last year. But we're looking at a very different Gannon Buhr. Gannon Buhr today is a very different player than he was in 2023. He is red hot. He's won so many events as of late, and I am done betting against Gannon Buhr. He is going to finish in the top 3 at the MVP Open. So now let's shift and let's talk about the ladies. This is a forehand dominant course. Owen Scoggins is going to be in the conversation. However, I also understand that when you are throwing 70% of your shots as forehands and it's raining all week, it sometimes becomes problematic to keep your disc in bounds. It becomes problematic to land your disc close to the basket. And for that reason, I'm going to say that Owen Scoggins finishes in the top 10. She finished tied 15th in 2023, but I think that she's been on a tear as of late. If she can keep her disc dry, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Owen Scoggins finishes in the top 10. I believe that Holland Hanley is going to finish in the top 5. She has the backhand game, she has the distance, she has the forehand, but she doesn't have to be reliant on the forehand because her backhand game is so good. She finished tied 6th in 2023, but I believe that she's going to get it done. She's going to get into the top 5. Holland Hanley finishes in the top 5 in the MVP Open 2024. And then my top 3 prediction. I believe that Kristin Tattar is going to finish in the top 3. She really needed something positive to happen for her. She's been struggling as of late. Her forehand has looked sloppy. Her putting has not been as strong as it was last year, although it's been very good. And that's honestly what won the tournament before her this weekend. But she's been struggling. And I think that she's going to gain some confidence from the win this weekend, take some of that positivity forward. I believe that she's going to come out and put up a top 3 finish at the MVP Open. That's all for today's episode of Fight for Flight. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, check us out on Spotify, and connect with us on social media for daily updates and exclusive content throughout the week.